Always a classic.
Yet again, Matt kills it with the Listening Lounge mix.
I need a martini after that.
Yeah, or 7. So welcome everybody to the Klipsch Listening Lounge, another edition. This is one we've been looking forward to very much. A beloved product line that has been around for quite some time now, and we have had a lot of people ask about the history and legacy and our partnership here. We have the folks with THX with us, so we're really happy about that. And we'll just do some brief introductions. Mark Casavant, I'm kind of the host, along with my partner in crime, Mr. Matt Summers. And Mike, if you guys want to just quickly reintroduce yourselves, and then we'll let Peter and Grace introduce themselves.
Sure. Yeah. Matt Summers, Senior Global Creative Director for Klipsch. Started with the company in '94. What is that? 27 years ago, something like that. I don't even want to talk about that.
I don't mention it anymore.
Yeah, Mike Barato, Senior Product Manager. Been with Klipsch for 9 years. Actually, Mark hired me on, so
that was a good one.
They still haven't forgiven him for that, but here we are. So yeah. Peter, Grace.
Hey.
Peter, go ahead.
All right. Hey, I'm Peter Vassay, head of the certification group at THX. Been with THX for over 20 years now, so definitely seen a lot, and just lover of all things audio. Just really excited to be with you guys and talk shop.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Grace Kakunda, head of marketing at THX. I've been with the company for over 3 years now, but I've been in entertainment technology for many years before that. So really glad to be here with you guys.
It's great to have you, and this is happy hour. So if you can share what beverage of choice you have, and hopefully everybody listening has a beverage at hand, because this is meant to be light and fun, informative, and funny at some point. It will be. You know? So I have a Three Floyds from Indiana, very hot microbrewer, Zombie Dust. So this is an IPA.
Fantastic. I've got a glass of red wine in a metal cup, just like always.
Oh, that's some Central Indiana goodness right there, man.
Yeah, right.
I've got a Harp Lager from the very exclusive Irish pub pack available at Costco. Can't beat it.
Nice. So I've got what's called a Tundra Wookiee. This is from Anchorage, Alaska. It is a Belgian dark ale. I do like my beers a bit dark. And man, this has got a lot of flavor, so definitely a fun one.
Cool.
I saw the Wookiee on there. We got a little bit of Star Wars talk going on, so let's see how it goes. Yeah.
Nice. I also have an IPA. I have Taste for Adventure. It's from a small brewery. It's a Pizza Port brewing company beer from Southern California. So
Cool.
Nice. We're supporting our local microbrewers.
Cheers, everyone.
we are.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Mike is taking care of the Irish.
That's right. They need all the help I could give them, I guess.
Well, this is, again, kind of celebrating a little bit, I think, a product that has had some amazing longevity, and it's now part of Mike's product portfolio, managing it. But, you know, ProMedia was born in 1999, and this was the PC audio system that we ventured into with THX as partners. It was the first multimedia THX certified system in the marketplace, and we've also been a partner with THX on a lot of higher end home theater products, high performance install product, and of course, you know, with our theater involvement, you know, having friends with THX and the theater alignment program, all that's been a lot of fun too. So if we have a little treat for everybody, and I can't remember if Peter or Grace were going to introduce what we're about to view here before we.
I'll do it.
Okay, Grace.
So what we have for you today is our latest THX Deep Note trailer. You guys probably remember that iconic sound from the theaters. Well, a couple years ago, we embarked on the journey of creating a new one, both to delight viewers from a visual and an audio perspective. So we brought on our friends from some Hollywood creatives. American Meme was the production company that we hired, and the producer was Ben Rosenblatt. Him and Micho Rotara, the creative director, put together this amazing trailer. It was mixed in THX spatial audio. So when you listen to it, make sure to listen over headphones and you get that immersive sound. And then the visuals were taken care of by Andrew Kramer, who's also known for the likes of Star Wars, etc. So without further ado, why don't you take a listen and let us know what you think.
And we'll mute our microphones so there's good sound. There's no sound.
Looks like we're having a little bit of trouble with that. The sound on it. Let's try again.
I can do the sound if you really want. I mean, no. All right.
Whoa.
Man.
I cranked. Oh my gosh. Go ahead, Grace.
I said it never disappoints, that sound at the end. You know you're going to get a good experience.
That was 4 trailers in one, 4 layers. I counted them, and
It's
I
like
cranked
worlds within worlds.
I cranked my system, and I feel hair coming back up here. It's fantastic. Oh, I'm excited! Wow,
That was fantastic.
I hope everybody enjoyed that.
So, Grace, will that be shown? Will that be in theaters? Will that be before, THX certified systems? Where will we see that trailer?
We can see it in a couple different places. So it's a trailer that we provide all of our partners with, whether it's in whether they're cinema partners or home theater partners, and it's meant to help demonstrate that users are going to get a great experience. So right now it plays in certified cinemas. Obviously, cinemas aren't open right now, but when we are able to visit them again, I encourage everyone to go check out the THX Deep Note and the certified experience in theaters. And obviously, with you guys, you're helping to deliver those great experiences in in the home and in different use cases. So yeah, looking forward to talking more about that.
Fantastic.
Is Peter off screen? Where did he go?
I think we lost him.
Yeah.
Okay, there he is. There he is.
There he is.
It's all crazy right now. All right, you guys hear and see me all right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So I'll just make a couple comments because we really want our friends from THX to describe what they do, who they are, and obviously the passion that's there. All I can say is when you have your home theater set up right and you play that kind of a deep note trailer, your system is set up properly, okay? Because it is supposed to evoke emotion, passion, everything that these creatives put into this artwork, this craft, it comes out when it's properly set up. So now if you have a desktop system, you may need a desktop audio system to convey what we just played, okay?
Maybe one that's THX certified.
That would be convenient, right? And reasonably priced. there are a lot of folks who are on the Klipsch audio forums and on the Facebook pages, and we're sharing this, I think, with the THX pages also, this stream, right? Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of people that it is their first brush with Klipsch and THX. I have 4 brothers-in-law, and they knew about this system before I met them, and they were like, "Oh, you're with Klipsch? Oh, that's cool. I have Klipsch." I'm like, "Oh, really? What do you have?" "Oh, I got this PC." I'm like, "Really? That's my product, from back in 1999, 2000." They're like, Sure it is. Okay, whatever, dude." And I was like, "Really?" So it's funny, But I am proud of the ProMedia product and how we've reached an emerging market. Young people, gamers, music files on their computers. This is our reach out to the emerging market, the new customer base for Klipsch, for a lifelong relationship, really. So, but THX is an integral part of that, that level of performance standards that these products deliver. So with that, I will hand it off to Peter and Grace to tell us a little bit about THX.
Yeah, Mark, I mean, you hit it right on the head. I mean, when you started this off, and just watching that Deep Note trailer again just brings back memories for me. And there's something about just the sound of things. And I recall the first time I ever heard a Deep Note, the audience is listening, which was Broadway. And I was in a theater, sat down, lights dimmed, and you're sitting there and you're like, okay, lights go down. And then all of a sudden you just hear sound coming from the walls and the front of the stage, and you're like, what is about to happen? And you see the classic blue border of Broadway come up, and then you see the THX logo, and you're just like shaking. And I still get chills just even thinking about it, because of the emotion that you get from, being able to hear things that you really haven't heard before. And that's a big part of what we do. And it's about that experience, those, I call it sound memories that you just think of. You have pictures all the time, but when you have these sound memories of the first time you've experienced something, it definitely hits you. And so with the Pro Media, that's something that we've been working on. I mean, we worked on back in '99, like you said, and it was all part of, this new use case. People are on their computers. They want to have good sound, and with all the experience that we have in movie theaters and bringing that into the home theater, and then bringing that in onto a 2.1 system, there was a lot that was involved trying to get that to, perform the way we wanted it to. And so working with your guys, the engineers, going back and forth and really nailing down the key things about what makes a good PC sound speaker system. So, I mean, you guys have done a great job. To see it still in the market and doing so well, I mean, really well, is a testament to how great that system is.
Peter, I would just make an additional comment to that. I think you're absolutely right. We've got some comments that are coming up in the chat. Is that system the right size for a desktop, and so on and so forth? For the time, it was absolutely the right size. And I will tell you, as a producer and an audio engineer, I have mixed on that system, for over a decade. It was it was the best thing going for a while.
Oh, yeah.
But the other thing that I would also say is that, and I probably want to announce this at the top of the show, we are giving away 5 Klipsch Pro Media THX certified speaker systems during this broadcast. So put your questions in the comments, and best questions will be picked at the end of the broadcast, and we will choose 5, and 5 people will get a brand new Pro Media 2.1 THX certified speaker system.
Cool.
Awesome.
I'm signing up right now.
Yeah, sign you up. Mike will send one over to your house.
Submitting all my questions right now.
One of the things that I would mention with that too also is I think the reason that product was so successful for us is, Klipsch is all about efficiency and horn loading and that controlled directivity with the speaker itself. But being able to put that in a desktop system, which was, 20 some years ago, and having that have that response that does that makes you have goosebumps, off of the trailer or anything that you're watching. I think that was a big part of it. And Mark, one of the things that I've really got to give credit to Mr. Caspan about was that we made this thing horn loaded. Even as small as it is the tiniest little thing, and it sparked all sorts of smaller satellites that were horn loaded as well. So that started the ball rolling.
Yeah, I have to give a quick brief history. I'm obligated to do this. In 1998, it was a pivotal year for the company. Paul Jacobs, he commissioned me to come up with an answer to these small 5.1 packages that were in the marketplace. Some of our key competitors had these little, home theater packages that were pretty strong. So we came out with the Quintet, and the Quintet was a powerhouse. It was a small package, but it had the horn loading. And this is actually the bedrock for the ProMedia products. I have a prop here. Okay. This was one of the early satellites that was customized by our friends at Alienware down in Miami before the Dell acquisition. But we had our friends with Alienware that had to have the V2400 and the rest of the ProMedia line. So they would actually custom paint a variety of colors of the satellites to match their really high-end gaming computer system. So I still have these. They still are operating. And but this was my visual aid. Matt mentions what we call the microtractrix horn. This was a term we came up for the Quintet, and then it made its way in here. But here's why we got into the multimedia space, because most every speaker system out there, this is what you got, something like that, full range driver. And then it had like maybe a bass module, something that put out like 80 Hertz, and they were done, So we were like, well, how about we deliver something really full range with some high frequency extension, nice directivity for the desktop, put the sound where you want it at your chair. And how about a subwoofer that, delivers some deep notes where you can hear a bottom B or a bottom E on a electric bass. So the success of the ProMedia line was THX certification, which aligned with Klipsch design philosophy: high efficiency, low distortion, great dynamic range, full frequency response, flat, natural response. Basically all the tenets that the THX performance standards reinforced, which, when we had our own THX certified home theater system prior to this, we found that, that's interesting. A lot of the standards of THX absolutely align with Klipsch design philosophy. We don't have to use multiple tweeters. I don't know if you remember this, Matt, but multiple direct radiating tweeters to get some control directivity with lobing effects. We have horn loaded tweeters. We already have control directivity. It's kind of a shoe-in, We don't have to modify our products too much to get THX certification. And then, of course, our friends at THX were excited about a new category of delivering a quality standard for desktop audio, because there's a lot of schlock product out there. I'll say it, And this is why, to this day, the product is still popular, because it still kicks butt. I told Mike I wasn't going to use foul language, but it still kicks butt, and it's a great value.
Yeah, and Mark, to your point, it sort of brought horn loading to the masses. I think before that, Klipsch revolutionized this horn loaded technology, but it was still a very elevated feature set and a very elevated price point. And this is the first, as far as I'm concerned, this was the first time, the mass retail consumer got to hear a horn loaded speaker. And it's, like you said, that's the reason it's been so successful, because it's a sound that you can't match in any other way.
Outside of the movie theater, which was happening at the time.
Well, right. Yeah.
And I think that's the whole idea, right? You bring this compact package home of what you experience in the theater with THX as a partner, and then we bring it home. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, that's
Peter,
absolutely right.
Do you want to talk about the certification standards?
Yeah, I was just about to go into that, just because people listening and just wondering, what is THX mean for these PC speakers, and what are the things that we test, and like you're calling out already, just the directivity and making sure that it has really good response. So we're looking at the user experience, where you have the two speakers left and right of your monitor. And so that's where you have them. And because they're typically on a desk, they're pointing at your chest if they're not angled up at the proper angle. So one of the key requirements is making sure that directivity and the way it's positioned, you can see even on the satellite speaker itself, that it is angled upward so that it reaches the listener's ears and not hitting your chest. And so that's a big part of it, making sure that there's really good flat balanced frequency response. So making sure there's a good balance between the tweeter and the mid range, and then with the subwoofer, which is a really key component of anything that's THX certified, it's got to have the bass, right? And you've got to have that low frequency extension, and that's a big part of it. And we want to make sure that it goes really low, but can still play really loud without distortion. So we look at, when we're in the lab, we're looking at the speaker terminals and looking at that on the oscilloscope to see that it's not clipping. And so when you're turning it up and able to get to what we call our reference level, which is what we've been known for the cinema and then in the home theaters, that's a key part of making sure that it plays really loud, really low, and has a really good balanced response. And so those are things that we really strive for, and with that, Klipsch has been able to do that in spades.
You know, Peter, something you and I talked about just a couple days ago was how necessary a true subwoofer is in a THX system. So much of it is, or so much of perceived performance, at least, is in that low frequency, you know, sub 80, sub 60 hertz. And exactly. I think that's where our ProMedia system really gets sort of overlooked. I mean, we talk so much about horn loading and the great sounding highs of this system, but it's really a best in class subwoofer for a sub $200 system.
Oh yeah,
there's nothing quite like it. So
yeah, that sub goes low and it plays loud. I mean, it's good that there's a subwoofer level on the front of that. That way you can turn it down when all the neighbors start complaining, but you can balance that just as well.
Mark actually put that on there to turn up the sub. Okay. He didn't want to turn it down.
Okay.
I remember there was a mark that indicated the THX level, and then you had plenty of room to turn it up above that if you wanted to.
Just in case.
Yeah, so we have a detent level that gives you the balance response between the sat and the sub, so that the sub, we don't want things to be overbearing with the bass. If you're watching a movie that's been mixed really well, you should have that experience where you're not overemphasizing the high frequency or the low frequency. So we do have that for people to see what
Peter,
this should be.
You'll remember this, Peter.
Oh yeah.
When we got into this, Napster was popular.
Oh my God.
And the first
me now.
Yeah, me too.
Come on, man.
but the iPod and do you remember the early MP3 players? You know, the Rio, where the most you could get was like 128 kbps, and so we were listening to this content that was on computers at the time, and we're like, oh my gosh, how do we make this sound good? This is how we make it sound good. We're going to have to give some headroom to this system, a little extra ability to throw some bass extension at it, because it's lacking in the content, right? And often when we make these more affordable audio systems, if it's streaming today, how compressed is the music is the question. But back then, that's pretty much all there was. So we had to make the product even better sounding, because people blame the speakers. They don't think often of what's up the food chain, So that was the world we were in, And then of course gamers. So I'm going to jag your memory a little bit more. Yeah. So we were very tied with the V2.400.
Yeah.
V2. So it was version 2, because the first version of the product, Paul and I looked at each other and we were like, no, we need to revise this. Okay. So then it was, and then Dash 400 was, we're throwing some power at this, 400 watts total power, a 4.1 system. And the reason it was 4.1 was because that was a state-of-the-art creative sound card at the time, where Dolby surround, you had rear surrounds, you had left and right, and there was a phantom center, for gaming. So it was all tied to the sound cards. Sound cards drove this product line for a long time. But it was the 2.1 that you could hook up to a television. You could hook it up to a notebook computer, any little 2-channel, any little headphone product. And that's why the 2.1 has lived long, because it works with anything, and people would hook it up to anything.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And to the point, I see there's a question just about the positioning and the setup of these speakers, and you're right about the input. People plug everything into this thing, and that's what's great about it. You can actually create really good content because the balance is so good, and playing video games, being able to hear cues that are left and right of you, it works really well. And just to go into a little bit about the reference position that we have for multimedia speakers, it's 28 inches. So 28 inches from your ear to the speaker is where we measure. And at that point, we're supposed to get we're looking for at least 103 dB SPL. And so with that, we want to make sure it hits that. And, Klipsch likes to overachieve. And so we get much more than that. And that's the thing about headroom, right? And wanting to make sure that, THX, you need to hit this level, and you need to be able to play this loud, because people play at different levels. Some people play at a moderate level, and it'll sound really good. But then that one time when you want to really crank it up, you can crank this thing up, and it's not going to distort. You're not going to hear anything bottoming out. It has that horsepower to be able to get you up there and then back it back down for regular listening, right?
Yeah. Like effortless is the word that comes to mind.
Right.
It just really, whatever you throw at it. I will say that the speakers are very revealing, and I mentioned earlier that I've used them for almost a decade as a micro mixing station. Just when you've got to edit something really quickly, or you need to sit down and put a package together or whatever, and they've performed just incredibly. But they also reveal, like a lot of the high sensitivity Klipsch speakers do, they reveal the discrepancies in the source material very quickly. So sometimes you're like, oh man, maybe we should redo that.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing. It's in the details, right? And watching different movies, and when we're putting this the PC speakers through its paces, and we're playing movie soundtracks that we know fairly well, and one of the key ones that we've used, and this, mind you, this did come out in 99, and so we were listening to the Matrix lobby elevator lobby scene. I don't know if you guys remember that one. Oh my God!
Has it been that long?
It has been that long. This is the one that we've been using for years to test these systems.
Sorry, Mark.
And man, see, doesn't it make Matrix 4 is coming out? Don't worry.
Yeah, but Keanu has his AARP card.
Oh man, so now we're using John Wick for all our.
That's me.
Our listening
That's
tests,
just
right?
me. Okay.
But and there's a lot of obviously the gunshots, and there's this part where she does this cartwheel and the bass rumbles right through that, and that's one of the key places where we want to make sure that there's nothing happening at that point, because that's where other lesser systems would start to clip and start to hear things, and you're like, no, not THX.
That's a good point. As soon as it distorts, it detracts from the experience.
Oh yeah.
And
totally.
I remember I used that scene where it was the helicopter hovering while they're shooting into the building, and that was a rear surround demo too, like just that warble sound of the bass, And it's a reason I have a subwoofer in the back of my home theater too, tied to the surrounds.
Okay.
But THX, people today may ask, what is THX? What is that? And maybe they've seen the Simpsons trailer, maybe they haven't, but I love it because that's what it's about. Turn it up, the grandpa wants to get his head, whatever, blown off, whatever. But it's pretty funny. I mean, my family, when I have something turned up, they have the impression that it's much louder than it is, because in the room it sounds just right, but on the other side of the house sounds maybe like an earthquake or something.
Not so good isolation. Yeah.
How many college students have been in trouble with their RA with this product? I want to say sorry.
Still pissing off the neighbors, really.
Sorry, we're not sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
How many parties has it supported? Through maybe after college, apartment. I don't know. I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but that's the point of this product. It is about the Klipsch brand, and then the establishment of quality that THX is. It's the stamp of approval. We used to call it. It was the good housekeeping stamp of approval that this will rock your world.
Yeah.
And one thing that occurs to me is, some of our viewers may not understand. Mark, you brought that question up. What is THX and why does it exist? I would put it out there to Peter and Grace, maybe give us a little background on how THX came about from the beginning. We would know that you were tied at one point to Lucasfilm and some of those other organizations, but I'd love to hear why it was founded, and then, what a little bit of background about what you guys are doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. I can chime in on that. So THX has been around for over 35 years, and it was actually founded by George Lucas because he wasn't happy with the way his movies were playing in the theater. So THX was born to optimize the audio and visual fidelity in, each theatrical room. And from there, it expanded. So it expanded into consumer electronics, home theater systems, making sure that same experience that you got in the cinema translated into different use cases like home theater. And we've evolved even more since then. Our certification programs have, expanded beyond home theater to cover off on things like, headphones, over ear, in ear as well. And we're also a technology company. So we have a couple of different technologies that are in market today to help elevate the audio experience, and amplifier technology and immersive audio technology, THX spatial audio. So, we continue to evolve as we see, problems in the industry that we can solve to ensure optimum entertainment experiences for our customers.
Yeah.
I think
Fantastic.
It's important, and Grace, maybe you can speak to this, and Peter, I think, touched on it a little bit, but I think it's important to call out that THX is not as much of a performance benchmark. It is that, but it's to me, it's more of a standardization, and that if you have a full THX system, your experience is going to be balanced, and it's going to be dynamic, and it's going to be, you're going to achieve a certain SPL at your seating area. And I think that's really important to call out. THX doesn't necessarily mean
It's not
that
just about
this achieves a certain, what am I trying to say, performance benchmark, but it means that there's a third party involved that's saying, okay, to this specification, this manufacturer is meeting this standard.
Right,
and I think that's really important, and I think that goes overlooked a lot.
Yeah, no, and that's a really great point, and it talks to the ideas that George had when he originally looked at his movies in a movie theater, and the air conditioning was too loud, the sound from the lobby was coming in, and the light from projector was leaking off to the sides, and all these different things come into play for that experience, and it detracts from that. And so THX is a list of standards that we've built so all these products can work together in a really well-designed room. So it's about the room, it's about the equipment, but when we're talking about what we call reference level, THX reference level, this is the same level that you get in the movie theater, right? You're watching a movie, you don't have a volume control, it's just the movie at that level. And so we know that we work our way backwards at the reference listening position in a home theater, call it an ultra theater, where you have a 12-foot listening distance to your screen. At that 12-foot listening position, you're getting that full sound experience because we've made sure that the signal chain, everything from the source to your receiver, your preamp, your amplifiers, and to your speakers, that the sensitivity of the speakers matches everything so that you get this level of performance that is really well balanced. It sounds great. It has all the nuances that you expect to hear. And if you see THX on it, you just know someone's gone through a lot of work to get it to that point. Yeah. And they just work together. So you've got your Ultra systems, and then you've got the Select system where it's for smaller rooms, and you won't need as much power. You don't need as big a speaker, but it still gets you that reference level at that 10-foot listening distance. And then same thing for PC, because it's much closer. You still get that immersive big sound.
So it's really about just quantifying the experience and saying that at these specific levels, at these specific products, this is what THX will certify, that you will get this level of experience and enjoyment out of that. I mean, for the layman, what they want to know is they want to see that THX logo on something or that seal and say, this will provide me with a quality experience with maybe an over the top, engagement. So
right.
I love that as a standard. Just being able to say, because people often ask, what is THX? Is THX a product?
Yeah.
It is, but it is also a standard that you can count on whatever system you're listening on, whether it's our THX Ultra 2 system or the ProMedia system or the cinema systems.
Yep.
That if it is a THX certified, you're going to get the same experience or that level of experience across the board, no matter what the system.
Right, right.
Grace and Peter, I have a funny question for you, because it's the same question I think I received 20 plus years ago.
Come on.
What's the difference between Dolby and THX? You remember that one?
Oh, we always get that one. Oh, Dolby's a different company. I mean, we all do different things, and at the end of the day, THX's mission is to, help ensure that consumers are getting the best in class, audio and video solution, no matter, where they're getting it, whether it's in the cinema, at home, or on the go. So
yeah,
good times.
We always described it as Dolby. It's the pipeline, and THX is that quality experience at the end,
Right.
Also upstream because of video and all the things that, I mean, I have laser discs that have the THX, opening, thing.
Oh man, now you're bringing up Laserdisc. Come on.
I am. I do that. I'm obligated. We have veterans are saying, when are we going to talk about Laserdisc? Because it was better than DVD.
Oh,
Well,
did you have the WoW disc? Did you have the WoW disc? I know you did.
I do. I have the original THX. I have the THX Laserdisc.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I've got some. I've got some vintage stuff that I told Ann, like, if an unfortunate accident happens to me, please don't give this stuff away. You can make a fortune on eBay. Just kidding. Just a joke. Come on.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Well,
this is like.
If it's okay with you, Mark, I would love to show the video that we have for our ProMedia THX system, the newly relaunched THX home system. If Brittany, you could cue that up. I'm just thinking this might be a good time to kind of show that system itself and what we've done with that. This is a 100% computer animated video for ProMedia THX, and it is there's lots of Easter eggs, so keep your eyes open. If you could cue that up for us, Britt. Maybe.
Nope, says it's not coming up.
All right, maybe we'll get back to that. Sorry, guys.
The video is just us staring at a screen. So there is a good question here from Steve. What does the future hold for THX and Klipsch? And I think it's important to, we've spent a lot of time talking about this system, this ProMedia 2.1 system, but it's a 20-year-old system. Peter, we were talking a couple days ago. It came out in 2001. Yeah. And what's next, and how are we improving this? And I will say, when that system came out, the original ProMedia 2.1, we were sort of on the forefront of sort of this mixed use, listening to music on your PC, but also, PC gaming was starting to grab a foothold with the American kids, as we'll say. And I think that's, in the last 20 years, that industry has just, skyrocketed. So what's next for THX? We can talk about what's next for Klipsch after you guys speak to it. But what are you guys working on currently that will probably see as sort of the next step or the next gen of THX in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, Grace, you want to take that one?
Sure. So as I was mentioning before, we're continuing to evolve all of our certification programs so that we are aligning with some of the newer use cases. So you'll see things like, newly certified headphones in market as more people are looking for these certified experiences on the go. Additionally, as some people may or may not know, THX, was acquired by Razer several years ago, and as such, it opened up, THX to really getting our foot in the door for gaming. So looking at use cases like gaming has been top of mind for us as we, bring new experiences to market. Certification specifically, one of the latest things that we've done is THX certified game mode for displays. So it's a use case that is becoming more popular, and people are really demanding better experiences, and we're looking to enable those across the board.
Yeah, absolutely. Razer's a juggernaut in the gaming space, so obviously it makes sense that you guys are tied in with them, and what they've been doing on the THX stuff is we'll call it pioneering some of the new gaming equipment that's coming up. And I think that's been with us too. I think this ProMedia, as I mentioned, when it came out, it was sort of this multi-use system, and without giving too much away, I think the future of Klipsch is a lot of involvement in sort of what's next for ProMedia, or a lot of planning on what's next for ProMedia. So you'll start to see sort of revamped ProMedia SKUs from us that are tied deeper into the gaming space, and really intended more for the gamer, more so than they are the sort of 2-channel or 2.1, desktop hi-fi listener. So we're excited, and I'm sure we'll be having some more conversations with you guys around.
Looks like our futures are aligned. The stars are coming together.
Yeah, Mike, when we were talking about that and just looking at the roadmap and the different things that could be worked on, there's a lot of really great things that we can do for 2.1 systems, and really turning that up to 11, really, because it's you're gaming, you've got all these things happening around you, and to be competitive, and if you do not want to wear headphones and you want to use a desktop system, there's a lot you can do there to really still get a really good experience and still be competitive.
Yep, absolutely. And headphones are the majority of the market for the gamer, right? It's about being completely immersed and having that microphone ready to go to communicate with your teammates or your opponents. I think there's opportunity there on the Klipsch side. Our headphone business, our headphone technology is really taking off. So it's possible that you'll see us get into that. We'll see.
Guys, I think we might have the video queued up.
All right.
Cool.
Brittany, if you can share that. Perfect. If there's no audio on it, we've been having some technical difficulties. We'll just talk over it. Just a refresh of the system. This gives you a good idea of what the ProMedia system looks like.
Right.
And content creation, and that's a shot of a content creator's studio or lab, but the idea of people creating videos for Twitch and YouTube and all this streaming content, and I think that's where, as Matt said, bringing these ProMedia speakers into the fold in that kind of system, as revealing and as detailed and frankly as cost effective as they are, is going to be really important.
Yeah, podcast studios, all these things where we're creating content from home now. I think more than ever, these systems are becoming, we're not only creating content, but we're consuming content in front of the screens a lot longer per day than we have, before COVID, for sure.
Yeah.
But we had fun modeling this room. There's a lot of little Easter eggs in the room itself. So I encourage you to go to the Klipsch Pro Media THX page, check out the video. And there's all kinds of little Easter eggs in there, a little bit of Klipsch history in there. And if you're any sort of a pop culture nerd, you're going to see all kinds of stuff in the background.
Well, now I want to watch it again.
Well, when you hear it, you'll hear Matt again. It'll be in a deep voice, though. It'll be his radio voice.
Yeah.
I teased Matt about that because everybody heard that was the B-roll that they just heard, the actual what's going on,
Right, exactly. You won't hear the radio voiceover, in a time before, in a land before time.
You just heard the director's comments, which is the good stuff, I'm looking at our notes about the various topics that we were going to cover. We're going to try to cover in an hour, but we don't forget, everybody, the riveting questions that we will get to, we will answer, we will get around to answering, and then we'll announce the winners also post haste. So, but I've been watching some of the questions, and they're good ones. They're really good ones,
Yeah.
So, and Mike, did you and Peter or Grace, did you want to talk a little bit more about future stuff, or what else did you want to talk about?
I've given away all I can give away. I'm gonna get a stern call from Paul Jacobs later about giving away all the secrets. So I'm gonna pass it over to Peter and Grace. Grace, if you can, or Peter, I know that traditionally there's been Select and Ultra on the sort of loudspeaker home theater certification, but there's now a new generation of that. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Absolutely. So as we were talking earlier, just about the two different performance categories that we have for home theater, the Ultra, which is 12-foot viewing listening distance, and Select, we needed to go a step above that because we've got screening rooms, and that uses a lot of professional equipment, and it's another level of install. And so what we've done is we've looked at that 12-foot listening distance and realized that there is this gap of rooms that need a bigger system. So we're calling this new program THX Dominus. And so Dominus covers a bigger room that has 2 to 3 seat rows of seats, and it answers the question about immersive audio. You're having the top speakers and being able to recreate all of that in a bigger room at a 20-foot listening distance. So this is a 65,000 cubic foot room where you're playing reference level. So just stop to think about reference level in that big of a room. And these systems that we're seeing and are able to certify are just so powerful, but yet so detailed. And because that's part of the requirement is we need to make sure that it has that power, but you don't hear any of the noise and the hiss because it's playing at such a high level. You can walk up to these speakers and the system, and you don't hear any of that. And making sure it's got good directivity, and making sure that you've got, we've come up with the requirements for the room dimensions and the room characteristics to make that all work really well together. So it's something that we've launched just last year, and we're really excited to be doing more on that. So you'll stay tuned for that.
Cool.
Peter, is reference level still about 105 decibels in the seating position, undistorted, clean, with, is it about 10 decibels of headroom?
Yeah. So it's 85 dB is where the reference level is. So that's where it's just sitting at. When you turn on a THX receiver or preamp to 0 dB, that's reference level, and that's 85 dB. And then you've got 20 dB of headroom above that. That's where you get that.
Okay.
So definitely a lot of room to play there. And when you're playing something that loud, and people who have THX systems, they get it, right? You turn it up to 0 dB. That's the sound. But when one of the funny things or not funny things, but one of the great things that I remember from working up at Skywalker Ranch, and we have our movie theater over there, and it's a home theater. It's an ultra-sized room. And we had one of the Gary Rizzo from Skywalker Sound come into our room because he wanted to listen to one of the new movies that he had worked on at the time. And so for the THXers, we were like, oh, what movie is it? And so we put that into the system. This is all THX certified stuff, so nothing prototype. Everything is, stuff that you could actually buy. And we calibrated the system, set everything up, put the disc in, played the track that he wanted to hear, and man, we turned that up to 0 dB, and the whole room was shaking. We stepped out for a second, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, that is crazy loud!" But nothing was distorting, nothing was breaking up. And then after he's sitting in the reference level and listened to that, he says, "Yep. that's how it's supposed to sound. And I'm like, yes. So it just validates all the work that we do for these systems to make sure that, the content creators are really getting what they want in a system, and you can get there.
It's a treat. Skywalker Ranch was a treat. I had been
you've been there. Okay.
A few times
Oh,
for THX level training, the various levels. And then when we did a Star Wars Pro Media 2.1, we were there. And Matt, did you show that picture yet, Matt?
I'm getting ready to.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, there you go.
So when we were there, it was like Disneyland for us audio people. Really it was.
It was.
Because this product, this was a lot of fun because we were working with the game side with, I think, Phantom Menace, the Pod Racer game, and then
LucasArts. It was LucasArts.
Yeah,
LucasArts.
Yeah.
LucasArts, great folks there. We did a promotion with this where we were giving away the games with this Star Wars speaker system.
Yeah, this is limited edition, man.
It was a really cool. The vinyl was like a brushed aluminum. The satellites, the grill had like a little sparkly silver like star pattern. The logo was blue. I mean, and then we were at Celebration. What year?
Oh yeah, Celebration.
Celebration
Yeah,
2. That would have been Celebration 2.
It was in Indianapolis.
Yep.
So we were there, and we were amongst fellow nerds, and we were eating it up, and it was fun and all. And then I got freaked out, and the local news caught me because I saw a Jawa go by, and I almost jumped out of my skin. I was like, so
Oh my gosh.
and of course the news cameras, we got that. So, but Celebration, and it's still going on. I mean, I'm still. I know, Mike,
Good.
that's a little unnecessary factoid, but I still got the Star Wars, all the Star Wars stuff.
Oh, nice.
I mean,
Nice.
I test the new Atmos setup with it. I mean,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
it's still a great reference standard for sound quality and video quality, obviously. But
Yeah, funny story about just the that edition, and just recalling some of my past going back. When I interned with Lucasfilm, I was working down in the basement testing cinema speakers, and I could hear the footsteps of people walking back and forth. And one of the guys said, "Hey, I need some help with one of these projects." And I was like, "Sure, I can help with that." And so we go into what's called the archive building, and this is where they store all the old props from the original Death Star that they used for the film was in there. And so I was working on R2 droid and working to get some R2 droids ready for some premieres that were happening, and working with the robotics, and it is like Disneyland, because I was like just in awe of being able to do that, working on the Darth Vader chest, getting all that wired up for premieres, and it was like, man, come on.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
well,
we had a great time with that with that system when it launched. It was one of the first sort of co-branded collabs that we had done with Klipsch products. We had done promotions and stuff, but this was more of a kind of like what we're doing with our headphones with McLaren and some of these other companies now. It was a co-branded, co-investment piece. I will say, as a creator, and Grace, you'll get a kick out of this, the brand guide for the Star Wars brand was the largest and most comprehensive thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It was
it was a binder.
It was a phone book of all the different things you could do and the ways you could do it.
Yeah.
So I remember that from back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
I do remember that.
Imagine all the attorneys that had a hand in that project.
Exactly. Well, guys, I want to talk about a little bit about a system that we also currently make. I want to talk about the THX Ultra 2 system. I'd like to show an image of that so that people can understand that beyond the desktop ProMedia stuff, there is some really great Klipsch product that is THX certified. Let me see if I can share the screen here. Give me one quick second. But this system is just insane. And I know, our VP of marketing has this system in her basement, Jill Eskel.
Oh yeah, yep.
So that's the THX Ultra 2 system. That system performs like nothing else. Insane.
Oh, yeah. No, I definitely remember this.
Yeah,
This
and it's more accurate to like have 2 or 4 subs with that, depending on
Yeah, that's what we did in our home theater. We had 4 of these in our room. Yeah.
Yeah, the THX Ultra spec, I think, for this system is 2 subs, and they run off of a single 1,000-watt amp.
Yeah, that's right.
But what you're looking at here, the ported LCRs, sort of in the bottom of the puppy pile, those are dual 6.5s to give you an idea of size.
Yeah.
On top of that is a dual 5.25 LCR, and a lot of times people will use the 6.5s up front, LCR, and then if they want monopole surrounds, they'll use those 5.25 LCRs on the side or in the back. But we also have the WDST, the wide dispersion surrounds,
right.
The dual 5.25s as well that you see there, and then actually a 12-inch sub. And a lot of times we get questions about, well, why don't you guys do a 15-inch sub in THX? And the 12 goes down to 20 hertz, so what difference does it make? Yeah.
And for the people asking questions, it is cerametallic. It is
yes,
a gunmetal. That driver is ridiculous. It's a triple stack magnet structure. The magnet structure is almost as big as the driver itself. And picking it up, I mean, I don't do that anymore. I let the young guys do that kind of stuff. But, and we've made refinements and improvements over the years. I mean, it kind of looks similar to the original, but we've made improvements with the tweeter compression driver suspensions. We've optimized, various things. Amplifiers, so it has evolved, even though it remains just a stalwart in our portfolio, because see, that says something about THX, that the timelessness of the performance benchmark and minimum performance standard. So that was another thing we talked often about with THX, because people say, well, there's a Klipsch, there are these other brands of THX. Now, how is that? How does that work? Well, THX allows the brand to do what they do, exactly. hallmark their design standards and do their thing. And if you have a THX system, it's going to perform to a minimum, really. Yeah. But in some instances, there's the maximum we want to talk about, and that's where and again, it was just so much fun, because we learned early on we are in alignment. We're talking about the theater alignment program. How about the philosophy alignment? Where all of our principles that were laid down by Paul Klipsch himself. When you guys came along, and then a lot of these design principles were copy paste almost. I'm just joking around. But what Tomlinson Holman, what he verified in the theaters as, you must do this. It must be low distortion. And how do you do that? With efficiency. And your amplifiers have to be clean with plenty of headroom. Directivity, you send the sound to where the audience is, not anywhere else. You send it where the audience is. And all these parameters, we're like, this is beautiful. We would make some changes to our product, but we didn't have to reinvent it. That was the beautiful thing about the early THX product. And then, of course, the evolution of it with the current system. And then even our install product, which Mike didn't, I don't know if Mike mentioned this yet, but, we have custom installation THX product where you can build a concealed, architecturally, invisible in-wall system with THX certification. Which is it's powerful. It's great.
Yeah, same acoustic design and a lot of the same componentry as the box system you just saw. So THX Cinema Series is the name of the architectural line and the box line.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Peter and Grace, I know we only have a few more minutes left before the stream is over. This time goes so fast every time. Yeah. And it's been such a pleasure having you guys here. I would like to hear maybe some final comments from you about the future of THX and what you guys think, what you're excited about moving forward.
Yeah.
Peter, do you want to?
Yeah,
start?
Sure. For me, it's just seeing more great products and the things that we've been working on behind the scenes with a lot of our partners, Klipsch included. Just really excited to be able to launch some of these things. But for us, it's really about that experience. It's that listening experience, that sound memory that you get when you're watching a movie and you remember just these great scenes, and bringing that to all kinds of different places, and headphones being one of those big ones, where we have a headphone certification program that gives you this reference listening experience that is something that you really have to put on your head and listen and really get it, because you can't just watch a video or read up on something. You actually have to get out there, try it out, listen to it. And once you hear one of these systems, and you hear an Ultra system, a Dominus system, or you hear some THX certified headphones, and then it's that feeling, man, the feeling that you get when you hear something and you're like, I want that every time. And that consistency, that's what THX is about, making sure that we consistently give you guys really great products, really great technologies, ways to get sound around you that really is game changing. So we're really excited about that, and the stuff we're doing in gaming. Oh, lots of stuff.
Oh, I echo that.
Cheers. I'll drink to that.
All right,
Fantastic.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
What a great session. As always, Mark, I feel like we could have 4 of these and still not even scratch the surface. Grace and Peter, thank you so much for imparting your knowledge and all the details about your wonderful company and our great partner, THX.
Great.
Here's to
Thank you
another
so much.
20 years together, right, guys?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yes.
Thank you guys for having us. We really
Thank you.
appreciate it. This was a lot of fun, and let's do more big stuff. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Quality doesn't go out of style. It just doesn't.
Yes.
Well, thanks everybody for joining, and we will announce the giveaways in the thread post the show. We'll pick the 5 best questions and announce who wins. So stick around, and we'll figure out who's going to be the winner of one of these great ProMedia THX systems.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
All right,
Thanks,
guys.
everyone.